None of the soldiers who pounded on the door of a school in Erzurum in June of 1890 could have predicted what kind of dark stain the scene that would greet them when that door opened would leave on history. This was not just a weapons search. This was the beginning of one of the bloodiest days of the century. And the Ottoman archive documents, court records, and eyewitness testimonies we have tell us the truth of that day. The bloodstains found in the garden of Sanasarian Armenian school were not the result of a single clash, but of a systematic massacre, and the numbers are horrifying. In 2 hours of chaos, 264 Armenians and 11 Muslims were killed. 169 Armenians and 26 Muslims were wounded. And these are only the official figures because unrecorded deaths, missing persons are not even included in these numbers. History books will tell you about the political atmosphere of 1890 Erzurum, but what truly needs to be told to you is this: how the heart of a 17-year-old student inside that school pounded when the door was struck, how the hand of the soldier outside trembled on the trigger, and how both sides were seized with horror when the first bullet was fired, because the official records say the rebellion was suppressed. But the truth is much bloodier, much more tragic. And now let us open this file together. Let us examine it like a forensic expert, because these people are not just numbers. They too asked, why me, why today? In their final moments, just like us. The Erzurum of June 1890 was very far from the peaceful city of today. A border city with a population of 30,000, full of military garrisons, a soldier at every corner, suspicion in every glance, because intelligence reports were arriving. Armenian committees are arming themselves, they are preparing a rebellion, and the governors were under pressure. Take precautions, suppress them. Orders were coming. Sanasarian School, in the center of the city, a 3-story stone building with approximately 150 students studying inside, its principal Magurdic Effendi. In his 50s, a calm man, simply teaching children to read and write. But his name appeared in the intelligence reports. Weapons are hidden in the school. This is the center of the rebellion. There is no evidence, only an accusation, but in that era, an accusation was enough. On the 20th day of June in the morning at exactly 9:30, we know this because the last entry in the school's attendance register was at 9:29. A squad arrived at the school gate, a captain at the front, 20 soldiers behind him, with an order in hand. A search will be conducted. There are weapons, hand them over, and they struck the door. The caretaker, Garabet, opened it. Welcome. But there are no weapons, he said. But they did not listen. They went inside, and here the story splits in two. According to Ottoman records, when the soldiers entered, fire was opened from upstairs. 4 soldiers were shot. According to Armenian sources, the soldiers behaved harshly, struck a student, a confrontation broke out, and someone drew a weapon. The conclusion reached by modern forensic experts: the truth was probably somewhere in between. There were pre-prepared people inside because the news had leaked, but most of the students did not know, and who fired the first bullet is unknown. But it was fired, and with that bullet the gates of hell opened. From among the eyewitnesses, Hove Hans, a 16-year-old student, told what he experienced years later. We were in the classroom. There was a math lesson. I was looking out the window into the garden. I saw soldiers. I said, "Teacher, there are soldiers." The teacher ran to the window, his color drained. Then voices came from below, shouting. An explosion, then continuous explosions, and the teacher shouted, "Lie down!" Some children were crying. Suddenly the door opened. A man came inside, a weapon in his hand, blood on his face. "Run! You will all die," he said. And we ran to the stairs. On the stairs people were trampling each other. I fell, someone passed over me, and at that moment I saw it. At the bottom of the stairs a child was lying. It was Parse. He was 12 years old. There was a hole in his chest. His eyes were open, but his gaze was empty. I understood he was dead, and it was the first time I had seen death. But I had to run. I had to survive. This is not just the trauma of one child, but the trauma of 150 children, dozens of teachers, and this trauma will be carried across generations. The first bodies found in the garden of the school were 4 soldiers, all shot in the chest from close range, professional shots. But the other bodies found in the same garden told a different story. A 12-year-old child, shot in the back, shot while running. A 65-year-old teacher, shot in the head, execution style. 19-year-old Aras, with 5 bullets in his body but none hitting a vital organ, shots deliberately fired at different parts of the body to inflict suffering. Modern forensic science calls this an anger killing. The killer does not just want to kill. He wants to cause pain. He wants to take revenge. And this means control was lost. There is no longer discipline. There is only blood, only anger. The initial clash lasted 15 minutes, but in those 15 minutes, 36 people died. Then the clash spilled into the streets because families rushed to save their children. Soldiers said, "Step back or we will shoot." But the families did not step back. A father shouted, "My son is inside. I want my son." The crowd moved forward and a clash broke out in the street. This lasted 2 hours, spread across the entire city. Armenian neighborhoods, shops, houses became targets. Fire was exchanged from both sides, because in the chaos no one knows what anyone did. Everyone is afraid, everyone is trying to survive. Now think, you are that father, your son is at school, you hear the sounds, you run, soldiers stop you. You cannot pass, they say, you beg. My son is inside, please. But they do not listen. A bullet passes by you, but you do not stop. You reach the school, the door is broken. You go inside. There is blood on the stairs, the classrooms are in ruins, and then you see him in the corner, your son lying motionless. You run. You embrace him. "Wake up, son," you say, but he does not wake up. His body is cold, his eyes are open, but there is no gaze, and a scream rises from within you, but no sound comes out. It knots in your throat, and in that cold classroom, you understand that your life is over. Maybe you breathe, but you no longer live. You only exist. Because it was you who truly died in that classroom, together with that child. The investigation file opened after the event is today in the Ottoman archives, folder number YPRKASK 64/69, 120 pages of documents. But the conclusion was decided from the start. Who is responsible? The Armenians. They rebelled. They were punished. The soldiers. They did their duty. They acted heroically, and the file was closed. But the truth could not be closed because the grief of 150 families over their children cannot be closed. A Muslim merchant named Mehmet Effendi said the following in his testimony: "I was in my shop that day. I heard sounds. I saw that soldiers entered a house, an Armenian house. Screams came from inside. The soldiers came out. They entered the next house. It went on like that, and I thought, this is not just a weapon search. But I could not speak up. I was afraid, and I am ashamed. But I was a coward that day. I only watched, and this burden is still on my back. At night I hear those screams, and I ask myself, is staying silent a crime? Yes, it is a crime. But what could I have done?" And this shows that not only the Armenians, but the entire city suffered greatly that day. The names of the dead are on record. Parsay, 12 years old. Krikor, 35-year-old teacher. Mugurduch Effendi, 50-year-old principal. Aras, 19 years old. Harutyun, 16 years old. 264 names. Each name a life. Each life a world. Was there actually a weapon in the school? According to the reports, yes. 12 rifles were found. But is that enough to justify the deaths of 264 people? No, absolutely not, because there is a disproportion. If you are searching for weapons, search, but do not commit a massacre. But that day proportion was lost. Logic was lost. Humanity was lost. After June 1890, Erzurum was never the same again. Trust was lost. Fear settled in. And this was only the beginning, because in 1895 even greater massacres occurred. In 1915 catastrophe happened. And looking back, 1890 is always seen. That first spark, that first blood. So what can we learn from this today? Violence begets violence. Hatred begets hatred. And once it starts, stopping it is very difficult, because every dead person demands revenge. Every tear creates anger. But in 1890, no one tried to break the cycle. Everyone accused each other, and the result, hundreds dead, thousands of traumatized people. The building of Sanasarian School is still standing. It is a museum today. Tourists visit it. But they do not understand the bullet holes in the walls. Because those marks are not just holes, they are screams, reminders that history must not be forgotten. Parsay was 12 years old. He loved mathematics. His teacher used to say, "This child will become an engineer." But he did not grow up. He lay at the bottom of the stairs, and our duty is to tell his story. Because if we do not remember, who will? The file of June 1890 was officially closed, but in reality it is still open, still bleeding, and we will not close it. We will talk more. We will learn more, because history is a teacher, but only for those who listen. And we are listening. We hear those screams. We see that blood, and we promise that we will not forget. Parsay died, but his story lives on. Krikor died, but his lesson continues. And as long as we keep telling these stories, they will not have died. They will have only transformed into another form, a lesson, a warning, a reminder that even the darkest moments of humanity must be brought to light. Because only if we accept the darkness can we walk toward the light, and the Erzurum of June 1890 was dark, but we are illuminating it, with every document, with every testimony. And one day perhaps such darknesses will never happen again, because we remembered, we learned, and we prevented its repetition.